Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Waters Run Deeps podcast. This is episode 2. It's going to be Trained or Framed Animal Spies, presented by Amanda today. I'm David, down in Florida. Again, we're all family members on this podcast, all three cousins. And let's go ahead and introduce ourselves.
Thanks, David. I'm Amanda, and I am in Colorado, and I cannot wait to talk about Animal Spies today.
And I'm Christopher, and I'm in Pennsylvania, and can't wait to talk about this topic. And not that I don't trust Amanda's impeccable research skills, but I have a couple animals I'd like to add myself, so looking forward to it.
All right. So we're going to get started. As we decided to start every episode as a way to make sure our sweet cousin David feels included, we are going to have a Florida story. So are you both ready for today's Florida story?
Oh, yes.
All right. In Madison, Florida, a man was put in jail after he decided to improvise during an alleged robbery at a Waffle House. So Madison County Sheriff's Office said witnesses told deputy that Rodriguez, that's the guy, entered the Waffle House with a small dog, pointed his fingers into guns, pew pew, and yelled, "Get on the ground, you all are getting robbed." Rodriguez then said he was high and drunk before grabbing some napkins and leaving the store. Deputies found the would-be armored robber at his home, where he admitted robbing the restaurant of its napkins, and he now faces charges for unarmed robbery and assault.
Well, I got a few things for this one.
Yeah.
Number one, when did this happen? Is this during the beginning of the COVID pandemic? So we're looking at no toilet paper. So possibly you went in there for toilet paper.
That's logical.
And number two, why rob the Waffle House? Waffle House doesn't close. If the Waffle House closes, us Floridians know it's time to leave Florida for any reason.
That is a great question. This happened in October of 2021, so quite recent. So I do not think we were experiencing the toilet paper shortage of 2020. Although I was not aware that taking napkins without paying them for them was a crime. So therefore I probably should be arrested because I have taken a lot of napkins from locations.
Yes, there also take a crap ton of napkins. I'm like a napkin hoarder. It does get to a point where it's excessive. And to me, it sounds like after his failed attempt with the finger guns, the napkins were an afterthought, perhaps. Like, I'm not leaving without something.
Got some napkins for his glove compartment. And Chris, that's something I didn't know about you. You're a napkin hoarder. It almost sounds like a NA meeting, Napkins Anonymous, right now.
Yes. Because it's terrible. I keep them in my car. I have one in my pocket always. It's a habit.
Well, so I found the story a couple weeks ago, but the other day Adam said to me, "Hey, I've never been to a Waffle House, but we have one up the street. I think it'd be a great place for us to go to breakfast tomorrow."
If you want to blow your butthole out, by all means, have at it.
I said, I think that would be a terrible idea for our health, our heart, our colon, really anything.
Well, I don't know how your Waffle Houses look in Colorado, but you're not getting a true Waffle House experience unless it's in the great state of Florida.
True.
Being a Floridian all my life, I've been to Waffle House not too many times, but you don't get the true Waffle House experience unless it's in Florida.
You don't get the true butthole clearing experience unless you enjoy it in the great state of Florida.
That's true. The greasy floor, the kind of undiscernible marks on the walls and stuff like that. That old Colt Ford song, "Take Me to the Waffle House, Baby."
Well, and I feel like you really need Debbie with one tooth to serve you to understand truly what you're getting at the Waffle House.
How did you know that was the waitress at the Waffle House down the road?
How do you think they get the impressions in the waffle? Debbie jams her tooth into each square to get that nice waffle shape.
And I thought to myself, of course Adam's never eaten at a Waffle House. He lives in Chicago. That's where he grew up. He went to college in Minnesota. He didn't go to college in Florida, where the only thing that was open in your podunk college town was the Waffle House and Debbie. And I don't think Debbie went home. I think she had a cot in the back of the Waffle House because she was always there.
Just got to make that
And
money.
the best part is when Debbie's like, hello. And she already is smoking her cigarette.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't think we can smoke inside. And Debbie's like, it's the Waffle House. They do what I want.
They got different laws in the Waffle House.
It's their own game.
I mean, they have different laws in Florida. I just thought this was really ballsy of a guy to go into the Waffle House and try to rob it with his finger guns in Florida because, first of all, you're going to get shot if you're going to try to rob a Waffle House.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I said there's a lot of people that carry in Florida, and that'd be kind of crazy to go in there. I guess it's kind of obvious that it's fingers and not guns, so it's not so much a threat. And if you're carrying, you should be able to see that. But
And Marion County is nothing but how do I put this? Down home country folks that riding around with guns in the trucks and the whole 9 yards. So he's lucky he walked out with some napkins.
yeah, and the poor dog that had to suffer through that madness.
The poor dog was hungry.
I
He was
was
like, "We're
just
walking into
gonna
Waffle House.
say-
We're going to eat."
Yeah,
Or
he's
he's
sitting
the
there.
opposite, and he's like, I would prefer my food back home because it's probably a better grade of food than what you're getting here.
Maybe the dog put him up to it.
There
I
you go.
threatened him.
Fits right in line with our animal spies thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do we think the dog is an animal spy?
There you go.
Yes. If you think the dog is the animal spy, write us at the Waters Run Deep podcast at gmail.com.
All right. Well, on that note, let's get started. So before we start, I did want to share that I did my research in some places that I got my information. So I learned about animal spies from How Stuff Works, History.com, Popular Science, Quartz, the BBC. Shout out to all our friends over across the pond. Chip, chip, cheerio. The Smithsonian Magazine, NPR, Insider, The Drive, and The Schmooze. So those are all the fun places that I got my lovely information.
No part of the internet was left unturned.
No, I will tell you, this was a very exciting and fun experience. All right, cousins, sit back and let Cousin Mandy tell you a sweet, sweet story about a little beluga whale and his accessory harness made from a famous designer called Equipment of St. Petersburg.
Can I get some freaking sharks with some freaking lasers?
All right, picture it. The coast of Norway, May 2019. Fishermen, accustomed to strange sights of the subarctic ocean life, are approached by a happy, interactive beluga whale with a harness labeled Equipment of St. Petersburg. So why is this weird, you may ask, cousins? Well, I'm not sure if either of you have become marine biologists in the last week.
It's a big negative.
Busy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a hard no on that.
I know both of you enjoy fish and are good fishermen, so maybe you already know this. But beluga whales are not typically friendly creatures of the sea.
I've heard that. Yeah.
They also most definitely do not wear GoPro cameras on their person or their body, nor are they known to swim around with harnesses that say property or equipment of St. Petersburg. So,
Beluga
fun
whales
facts,
look so
things
cuddly.
you learned. They actually do look quite cuddly. Like, if I was to pick a whale that I would cuddle, I probably would be a beluga whale.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hug up next to a killer whale. I mean, beluga
No, they don't
sounds
seem
nice.
too friendly.
I mean, the name itself.
Yeah, the name itself kind of shoots it in the foot, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, in Free Willy, though, that guy got like a little snuggle close to that whale, and then he was
Well,
like, go, Willy.
I think Tilcom kind of wants to snuggle, but in the wrong ways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like dolphins. They try to get frisky real fast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dolphins. So despite this big dude's endearing behavior, officials believe that this animal was actually an undercover Ruski spy trained by the Russian Navy to protect a naval base and to record footage of the locals in Norway. Now, the Ruskies deny running any animal espionage program. However, there is some evidence strongly against them that has been seen. Apparently, they have placed ads trying to purchase dolphins for covert operations.
Can't forget about those Craigslist ads that you left out.
Oh, Russia, I love them.
Yeah, can you? I'm just imagining. So I love like Facebook Market, and it's like on Facebook Market, it's like looking for a dolphin.
Could you imagine getting on Facebook Marketplace and finding an ad for 3 dolphins for sale?
Yeah, how's that work? I don't even think that's legal. Not like.
Oh, I don't think it's legal.
Well, I don't think you can sell dolphins on the Facebook Marketplace, but it'd be pretty cool to
see that. Yeah.
Well, the Washington Post reports that Russia's defense ministry published an ad in 2016 offering $24,000 for the use of 5 bottlenose dolphins. So there's that. And although beluga whales are not dolphins, something definitely smells fishy about the situation.
Yeah.
I really had to get my dad joke in there.
Yeah. So did they denied have anything to do with the Mr. Beluga that came up onto the shore with the equipment on his back?
Was that property in St. Petersburg?
So
1,000% said not us.
So they're basically saying that the dolphin broke into the St. Petersburg armory.
The beluga whale.
Oh, excuse me. The beluga whale broke into the St. That's even better.
Yeah.
St. Petersburg armory, removed said equipment, attached said equipment on back, and decided to go have a beach day.
And turned on the GoPro.
Yeah. It
was like, let me
in Norway.
Yeah. Oh, a beach day in Norway. That's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, I think you've actually uncovered exactly what they're saying.
I'd like to see the footage.
We are.
Yeah.
We are being very, very judgmental and blaming the Russians. It could also have been the city of St. Petersburg and Florida. I mean, maybe we should look there, and maybe they have found a beluga whale and decided to send it on an adventure.
Yes, it didn't even
put that. Happens.
They could be looking for the next Tampa Bay Rays ballpark over in Norway. Who knows? We tried to put it in Canada.
It would be in a better location. It'd be a way better location than where it's at right now.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, Russia's going to deny all day long. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would too, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You got to deny everything you do.
That's just how the game works.
Yeah, you got to deny all your stupid ideas.
Are you going to really say I caught a beluga whale and put a freaking GoPro on him?
Yeah.
He was looking for a shark. He got a beluga whale. He's not really happy.
What do you think happens to the whale afterwards, though? Like, do they just send it back to St. Petersburg? Like,
recharge his batteries and send him back on his way.
I mean, do you have a recall for a beluga whale? Is there any way to, remember the old show Flipper where he just had to, splash the water and Flipper came? Is that how we're recalling his beluga?
Oh, maybe.
Does he have a destroyer assigned to him so the destroyer kind of follows the whale?
Well, it'd be hard for Russia to deny it then if the
I mean, obviously the destroyer's not going to be right on its ass, but
true,
somewhere close.
Yeah, within
but yeah,
Flipper distance.
Within Flipper splashing distance, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so this adorable spy is hardly the first drafted into espionage for humans, and probably won't be the last for either the city of St. Petersburg, Florida, or St. Petersburg in Russia. So grab your shoe phones and your exploding pens, and let's go deep, deep undercover into animal spies and the conspiracies that come from these cute little critters. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm more than ready.
I'm ready.
So it is one thing to train a dolphin or a beluga whale. We know they can do that. I think the 3 of us have been to SeaWorld. We've seen it happen. But what about training a cat, a bird, or other creatures who are not known to take directions well? Have either of you ever tried to train maybe a pigeon or a cat?
I've trained a couple dogs, but that's about as far as my animal training has gone.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever, I've had 2 cats in the past, and I don't know that I trained them per se. I mean,
Well,
but
are we talking about the feline persuasion or the other?
well, I mean, I haven't been able to train either one of them. I'm divorced a second time.
Sorry, I had to go there. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I like it. So I don't know that training is a possibility, but then with my limited schooling, as we were discussing earlier, I go back to who is it, Freud, who had the cat in the box that
Oh no, that was Schrödinger.
Schroeder. That's right, Schroeder's theory. Yeah, I'm no scientist, but there we go. I look at that.
Yeah.
So there are several well-documented examples of animals being trained for military operations and spies. Animals have been serving the military way far back. We have, definitely research of knowing them through the Roman times, being messengers, that kind of stuff. In 1908, the Germans actually attached a camera to a pigeon to take aerial photographs. I'm a little unsure how in 1908 we were taking camera photographs. Do any of you know about that? Because I didn't think we had cameras that good to put on a pigeon. I thought cameras were like big and bulky. You had to like stand still for 30 minutes.
I'm wondering how big the damn pigeon was.
I was gonna say that poor pigeon had a big ass camera hanging off him. I don't know how he could fly because
that was a humongous freaking pigeon.
And the quality, because you got to have a big telephoto lens on it back then. I mean that poor pigeon.
Well, the exposure time for a photo back then was quite a while,
Yeah.
And so that pigeon had to. Jesus, I could only imagine how big that pigeon was.
I bet
it's got to be as big as the sandhill cranes that we got around here.
Yeah, the other pigeons probably looked at him like he was the biggest one in town, though, because it probably looked like a phallus.
I mean, he was a pimp pigeon with the pimp pigeon with a camera.
Yeah.
So in 1940, pigeons were trained by B.F. Skinner to track targets and steer missiles, which is kind of cool. So pigeons are like
steer missiles. So they had they had a cockpit on a missile, and they would. Oh, I've heard of this. Did they get? I don't think they got that. I thought they didn't get that to work though. I thought they put like seed or something. In I don't know, something to do with feed or something, and it would cause the pigeon to. I don't know how that works, but I thought it was something like that. Maybe I'm wrong.
So was the pigeon attracting the missiles? So like the pigeon would fly over and let's say land in a Russian bunker or a United States bunker or whatever, and the missile would just come over and go up the pigeon's rear end. Or
I think it was they were actually on the missile, like they were in it, right, Amanda?
Yeah. So they were in it, and they like sort of went to where it's supposed to go. But Chris is right; it didn't fully work out. But pigeons, mostly because although they were really easy to train, and I'll talk more about pigeons in a minute. They were usually killed or maimed regularly while they're on their missions. So you had to have a lot of pigeons. Now, luckily, if you've been to New York City, there are a lot of pigeons. We're not really like worrying about the pigeon population.
Well, I don't know. I think we need to do a class action suit for pigeons.
I agree. I think the pigeon's rights have been severely violated.
Yeah.
And going back to the pigeon with the the camera around his neck, I think the guy driving the missiles probably.
Yeah, he's worse off.
Yeah.
He's dead, and the other one just has back problems or wing problems.
I got pictures.
Yeah.
I got pictures to prove it.
So in the Cold War, we were using ravens that could be used to eavesdrop on sensitive conversations.
I could see that.
Dolphins that would film secret military training exercises, and even insects that could detect intruders.
Oh, wow.
Well, now I'm not going to talk around any squirrels or birds. I mean, that's not that I carry any government secrets, but
You never know who's listening.
Exactly. There have even been reports of the U.S. implanting listening devices in cats and conditioning them to tune into certain people's voices to pick up on political conversations.
Holy
Now,
cow.
President Biden just got a cat, and I'm like, oh, that's why you got the cat.
Hmm.
Hey, Amanda,
Yeah.
real quick on something you plugged earlier. The dolphins calling. Did you mean filming, or were they actually like pulling out their underwater cell phone and giving somebody an old ring?
No, they would film secret military training. So I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
filming.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
'cause
filming, not calling.
I was Savannah and I were a little confused, and we're like, "How are the dolphins? Are dolphins are making phone calls?" Hey, Timmy, I'm over here off the coast of Russia. You should see the crap that's going down right now.
Yeah. And then during the first Gulf War, which I think is the one that the three of us probably remember the most, the U.S. military apparently used chickens in Kuwait as early warning chemical detections for things that were in the air, very similar to like coal mine canaries.
That's
So,
interesting.
I also saw something that we used for chemical detection. Man, that was part of what I was looking up. So they used back in World War One, they used slugs to detect particles in the air to allow the soldiers to don their equipment in time for like a mustard gas attack. So the slugs would indicate discomfort by closing their breathing spores and compressing their bodies. When soldiers saw this, they would put their gas masks on. So they used the slugs to detect, I guess gas in the air. But how quick is that response? I mean, do I just sit there and stare at the slug in hopes of a gas attack? I mean,
Well, could you
or do I
imagine a
have
slug that
one?
could you imagine a slug that ate something that didn't agree with him, and now he's constipated or whatever, and he's trying to fit, so he kind of curls up, and now we got gas masks on for nothing.
Yeah. Or Jim
stupid.
farted really loud. Private Jim farted really bad, and it stinks. And
Well, I mean that's considered a chemical attack, I believe.
yeah,
Just imagining Sal the slug, man. What a life to live. You like work your whole life up as a slug, and then all of a sudden you had to smell the mustard seeds.
Well, you're drafted. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. That's it. Game
you're in the
over.
military now, Jack.
So, according to Jennifer Hancock, who is a dolphin trainer and animal behaviorist, that's a job for all of our friends wondering if they could do that. All animals respond to conditioning in pretty much the same way, even humans. But the caveat is that some animals are physically capable of doing the behavior to be requested of them, but they might be instinctively inclined to do so. So, bird isn't any easier to train than any other animal. In fact, you could have a really social bird that can be really easily able to train, but then you might have an animal who does not want a relationship and doesn't want to be a part of that world. And that really, I can relate to that. Like I know some people who are really easily to like be a part of and talk to, and then there are others who want no contact with anybody and would prefer to sit in my basement and play video games with their friends.
Ouch. See, I was fixing to go there as you being a wife. That's kind of like the wives' thing is they condition us. Oh, they cook us good dinners and what have you, and then we marry them. And oh, I got you. You're going to do what I tell you to. Now I'm going to run this show.
Yep,
I've
you're mine
trained you
now.
well.
It's
Yeah, I
interesting.
just thought it was really fun to think about like animal behavior. Like you could pretty much train anything, but an animal still has that free will to be like, man, I want to do that though.
Yeah, and you're
Um,
completely reliant on that. And at least with humans, I feel like when you train them, military and stuff, that you can kind of see when things are starting to change. You're in a foxhole or something with these guys, you can kind of see that he's starting to get some shell shock or something's not going completely right. So you can kind of potentially prepare for it. I've never experienced it personally in
Well,
either
that
on either side of it, but I would assume that you can kind of see signs that it's beginning to happen.
well, and that as humans, we can communicate with each other like, hey,
Yeah.
not really feeling right anymore.
Yeah.
They're kind of getting to me. Whereas a tiger that you've trained for a year to hop up on this barrel and put his paws
Yeah.
up in the sky and wave at everybody just isn't feeling it today and hops up on the barrel and then looks at you and says, you know what? I'm kind of tired of your shit, Paul.
And bitch slaps your face off.
Right. Or Tilcom. I mean, we
was
can go back to SeaWorld and talk about Tilcom, you know?
Yeah.
That's like one of the reasons I don't really like to like ride animals. Like when I lived in the Middle East, I didn't ride camels or like I didn't ride like an elephant because yeah, they might be trained for to have a human ride them. And I'm a little bit more human than I'm like I have a little bit more weight on me than other humans. So I'm going to say not a little bit more human
You're
than
a little more
others.
human than others, huh? Huh.
But like I feel that they, you know, like what says that, you know, Charlie the camel isn't going to be like, I fucking had it, no more fucking humans, and then
Well,
like,
yeah, he has an off
bought
day
me
or
off
whatever,
and
you
I
know?
die or something. Yeah. Or you go to pet that tiger and the tiger's like, you smell like tiger food, and then eats my head.
Yeah, I know they said this with horses. Like when you get on a horse, you know, they can feel just by your legs and the way you're holding the reins. They can feel if you're nervous or if you're rough, you know, things like that. So and they react to that. So
Well, I mean, you know, all of us have owned a dog in our lives, and you know, we understand that if you show a dog fear or you know you have that apprehension, a dog can read that, you know, or you know, and feel that apprehension and take advantage of that. So
I have to remind mine every once in a while. The German Shepherd I have, he has to be reminded of that every once in a while.
right.
Put the fear back into him a little bit.
Now, the PETA people, we
I do
don't
the
abuse our animals.
Oh yeah, sorry. Didn't mean I abuse him. I just give him the stink eye. Yeah, he's
I do the
definitely not
opposite.
abused.
I tell my little dachshund that she is the most prettiest princess in the whole wide world and deserves all the kisses and all the cuddles.
So she knows her place.
Yeah, she's first.
She understands that when the fires come, the first to be rescued is her. The last is your Aunt Margaret. In case
Oh well, you know, you got to take them as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that the cat, on the other hand, this bitch is the one that taught me my place. Like, she is very specific on who is trained, and I will tell you that if she is not fed by 5:30 in the morning every morning, I get a mouthful.
Yeah, that cat would be sleeping outside.
Yeah, couldn't have it.
I mean, she did bring me like a dead rabbit as a thank you present. So.
Well, there you go.
Oh, then yeah,
rabbit
she's providing,
stew.
so she's good.
Right.
I mean, she's providing. I made some good rabbit stew the other day.
There you go. Again, for the PETA people, we're not abusing animals.
The rabbit was already dead by another animal.
Yeah, Thumper was already dead.
It.
You know, honestly, who hasn't eaten rabbit? Come on.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like Uncle Charlie's like 4 meat surprise chili or like whatever, like 3 meat surprise, and he never tells you like what the meat surprise is? Like you know that it's like meat or ground beef. Like I'm pretty sure there's like pork in there.
Probably
sometimes
some venison.
Deer. Yeah. But you're like, what's the 4th one? And he just like smiles. And you're like, I'm really hoping it's not something I don't want to know. Like a squirrel.
Whatever was easily accessible at that moment.
Squirrel tastes like chicken, Amanda. It's good for you.
It is. It
You're
does
like,
very
that's
good.
why I haven't seen squirrels around Riverview lately.
They're all in the
chili.
stew.
As my 6th grade teacher used to say, it'll make your hair curly and your teeth pearly.
All right, friends, let's talk a little bit about some famous animal operatives and possible spies. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
So homing pigeons have been a part of humankind's evolution and war, life, all of that. They are our closest confidants, and most assured mail carriers for a millennia. The Romans, Genghis Khan, even Napoleon used pigeons to share messages with allies, enemies alike. Typically, the message would be wrapped around the pigeon's leg or tucked into a little canister, and the pigeon would fly. Now, I have lots of questions about this. How does the pigeon know where to go? Like, if I get a pigeon and I want to write a letter to David, do I just put David Waters, Florida, and the pigeon's like, oh yeah, I know that bitch, and goes to David?
I think they're trained. They have hubs, so they have specific hubs that they go to, and they may have several stops, and I'm sure the messages are like labeled for each stop, or they may just have one stop and whoever receives it will distribute it.
Yeah, I talked to some friends. I talked to some friends about this. Oh God, I can't remember, years ago.
Were these human friends or pigeon friends?
Well, I mean, do we really discriminate against, who I talk to?
No.
I mean, so anyhow, they're human friends.
Information's information now.
Right. I mean, I'm taking it as I get it. You know how good I am with talking to people, or things,
or
things, inanimate
Yeah.
objects. I got that from Aunt Margaret. So they were talking about, pigeons and how you can do that. If you think about people when they get married, some people like to have the white doves let go. Well, these white doves leave wherever they're let go at, and they go right back home. So it's just like these pigeons. They leave. They're sent with a message, like Chris said, and they hit hubs along the way to wherever they're going, or they hit one hub, the messages switch to another pigeon. That pigeon hits another hub until it gets to wherever it was going.
So I'm a Harry Potter fan, as you both know. And do we think it's the same with the owls in Harry Potter? Like, if you are a wizard out there and you still get your wizarding messages from owls, please write to us at the Waters Runs Deep podcast at gmail.com to let me know how the owls work in the Harry Potter world and if it's similar to the pigeons.
Yeah, I think it's similar, but they probably go through portals and shit that I don't know.
Do they have their own little wand?
Yeah, my only issue with the pigeons is the conflict of interest and the chain of custody issue. Because if they're going to different hubs and people are passing them on, then your information is being put out to everybody to know.
I mean, I would hope it would be a friendly hub that they're stopping at, and not, let's say we're fighting the Russians and they stop at a Russian hub to get refueled or something like that. Freaking pigeon that screwed up.
He done went to the wrong house.
Yeah. Hey, Amanda, on that plug for our email, they can also hit us up on Instagram and I think Facebook. Am I correct?
I don't think Facebook is up. I didn't do the social media stuff, but
well, I know our Instagram.
I know Instagram.
Yeah, our Instagram is TWRD_podcast. That's one of our Instagrams. You can catch notices on our next episodes and stuff like that coming out. It's kept up to date pretty well.
Yes.
It's ran by our wonderful social media manager and David's 13-year-old daughter.
My beautiful daughter.
She's 13, 14?
Yeah. No, she's 13. Amanda, slow down. 13. She's already looking at vehicles.
Oh, boy.
We start them young in the Waters family, putting them to work on things we don't understand.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of old, we already kind of talked about the homing pigeon that had the tiny cameras. Apparently they were tiny. I don't know what that means. That took aerial photographs in World War I. We talked about the pigeons that were used in World War II, but that never really fully developed, having the incendiary devices attached to them as like a weapon system. Yeah, so birds may be easy to train, but as we're learning, they get killed a lot or maimed while on their missions, and so probably aren't the most reliable animal operative. But if you're looking for an easily trainable animal operative to maybe like go spy on your neighbor or take down some notes that maybe you missed during chemistry class, great resource.
I'm kind of thrown aback by the pigeons with incendiary devices. Could you imagine like hanging out in your foxhole and this cat swipes at a pigeon and the freaking pigeon and cat just explode? And you're like, what the hell happened there? It's an incendiary pigeon.
So speaking on that, man, if I'm stepping on part of your research, I apologize. But one of my favorite animals that were used or trained and used or going to be used, they were never actually used, is bats. Did you get the one on bats?
That is my next one. So, Chris, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about it, and then I'll add in if I have any more.
This is my favorite one. I remember. I think I learned about this in school, actually, believe it or not, and I always remembered it because it's probably the stupidest, in my opinion, idea that anybody can come up with. But of course, America was really trying after the wake of Pearl Harbor. So, little S. Adams, a dentist. Mind you, dentist from Pennsylvania concocted a interesting idea. It was a project dubbed Project X-Ray. So it was approved for testing in March of 1943, but it was an incredibly complex idea. It was sanctioned by the U.S. Air Force, so they decided to go out to Carlsbad Army Airfield Auxiliary Base in New Mexico, and they had tiny little incendiary bombs attached to the bats. And during the testing, a couple of the bats got loose and they caught the entire base on fire. So that was of course, that plan was scrapped. So Amanda, that's the info I have that I remember. So if you have any more to add on to that, by all means.
I do have a couple of things. First, let's please talk about Dr. Adams, because he's a dentist, so he was a doctor. How do we think Dr. Adams approached the National Research Defense Committee to tell them that I have a great idea?
Hold my beer, watch this. He said, hold my beer, watch this.
Yeah, he was one of the first, hold my beers and watch this.
Yeah.
David, I'd like you to play the role of Dr. Lytle Adams.
Oh, okay.
And Chris, I'd like you to play the role of the director of the National Research Defense Committee.
Okay.
Scene.
All right. So I got this great idea. Here's what we can do. If we take little bombs and stick them on the ass end of some bats, I think we could take out the Japanese.
Okay. So, Dr. Adams, how could we control these bats and ensure that they hit our target?
Well, I mean, control Shamo. I mean, honestly, who needs control? If you just put the little bombs on the ass end of the bats and you throw some food out there, I think we can get them.
I got a great idea. It just hit me. So how about we put these bats in a bomb-shaped container, right? All your bats with their little bomb on them.
Okay. All right.
And we fly them over the city of Japan.
And a B-17.
Yep. And we open the door, drop the bomb out. And at the same time, well, actually, no, even better. Before that, we'll fly another plane over with a bomb full of bat food. Drop that out first on the same target.
I like where you're going.
And it'll surprise the enemy. It'd kind of be like a flashbang in a sense, because the enemy would be like, what the hell is all this bat food?
The first shock and awe. I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. 30 seconds after that, we'll drop the bomb with the bats.
I like it.
And then the bats will go after the food and it'll blow up at that time.
I like it. See, this is a dentist and the U.S. government working together.
Yes.
Yes. I got another question. Can we paint the bats like we paint the airplanes? I think that would look great.
I think we should paint messages on each individual bat, like "Here it comes" or
"Take your medals and
Hitler." Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for playing Mystery Piece Animal Spy Theater with me. So
I think we nailed it.
In case you were, I think that was exactly how that conversation went.
I'm pretty sure.
So in case you were wondering what kind of bats were used, they were Mexican free-tailed bats, which makes me really sad that they were called Mexican free-tailed bats, and then they were murdered.
Yeah, that means we robbed Mexico for their bats, so we didn't even use our own bats to commit this act.
No.
So does that make Mexico a part of World War II?
Inadvertently, I would think so.
I mean, they provided bats, so they would be our ally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're our ally regardless because we're so close, but yes. So by December 1943, the project was canceled. I don't know why it was canceled. I'm assuming it just didn't work well.
I'm assuming because it caught the whole base on fire that it was canceled.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and cancel it at that point.
A new kind of automatic animal-free weapon was created on its way. Do we know what weapon that was?
The A-bomb.
Yep, the atomic bomb. So later on in his life, Dr. Lytle Adams is quoted to have said, "Japan would have been devastated, yet with a small loss of human life if we just used bat bombs."
Right? Have you ever seen, speaking of the A-bomb, have you ever seen the speech that Oppenheimer gave after I believe it was after the use of the A-bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? He did a speech like on TV or something, and he like cries during this speech. And for those of you who don't know who Dr. Oppenheimer was, he was I think he was the lead scientist on the
he was
discovery.
One of the founding ones.
Yeah, and he like goes really biblical and philosophical, and it was very like, every time I see it, it just kind of like shocks me that as bad as that was, they knew it was, they still went through it. That's how, I guess, trying it was at the time, during World War II to end this war, that they still went through with the creation and the use of the atomic bomb.
Well, I think they knew that, without using that, our loss of life would have been greater with, the fighting continuing in all theaters that we had, Um, the speeches back then were just great speeches. I mean, I think
They were.
people actually spoke from the heart back then.
Yeah.
And I think that's
I
what
don't think they had speech writers. I think a lot of the speeches were probably wrote themselves and maybe tweaked a little bit by somebody else,
yeah.
by a speech writer or something. But now I think everything an official speaks is written by a speech writer.
Well, it's all too political now. You're not allowed to get up there and actually speak from the heart, no matter who you are, on what side or wherever you're from. Nobody gets up and truly speaks from the heart and gives great points and great views. And, like Oppenheimer, who was devastated. Yeah, I developed this weapon. I created this weapon. However, the use, I know, killed thousands of people, and it was needed to stop this. But, still, my heart breaks for, the actual having to use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it's I mean, not even, it's almost been almost 100 years. Obviously,
80.
I would say very few people are still alive that remember. Like, obviously, people were alive, are alive that were alive then, but really remember. But we are still impacted by it every day. I mean, there's still fear of nuclear war. There's still fear of what happened, what caused, or what, because of that, what is the butterfly effects that have happened since, there's just a lot.
Yeah.
But if we would have had bats.
Yeah, I was going to say, back to what we're really here for.
Less Mexican bats.
Yeah. We would have had more bat death and less human death, potentially.
Yeah, if those freaking bats didn't blow up that base, we'd have been on point.
Yeah. I think they were double agent bats. That
I wonder if
that
Mexico
fire.
was trying to align with Japan, Germany.
Yeah.
And, they got to the bats first.
Wow.
This rabbit hole could go deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we think that Batman got ideas from the Bat Bomb mission?
I believe so. I mean, he used his bat-shaped object, so yeah, I think so. I think not completely. He used bat-shaped things rather than live bats, but yeah, I could see that.
You're talking Alfred, not Batman, because Batman didn't really have any of the ideas. Alfred was the one. Was it Alfred, or who was the scientific guy?
Batman. He's a master tactician. Batman did it all. Alfred did help. Mr. Pennyworth.
Well, no, who was the guy that actually developed these weapons and stuff for him?
Oh, Dr. Fox. Lucius Fox. Yes. Okay, you're right. So, but Batman was a good inventor himself, though. He was a good inventor himself.
He came up with, some of the ideas, but Lucius Fox is the one that put them into play.
He tweaked them and made them actually work. Yes.
I feel like our listeners have to know that Christopher loves 4 things in this world.
And I stepped on one of them.
I will not rank them, for I know that his family listens to this, and I will let them know where they are in the rank.
Below Batman.
Batman is literally number 1.
Yeah, Batman's way up there. Way up there.
I like Batman too. I think that we could probably have this argument offline, and it would be interesting.
I think it's funny. I think it's better for our listeners if it happens online.
Well, he's the greatest superhero because he does not actually have superpowers. He's a master tactician, and he beats Superman in the movie, in the comic book, every time. However, I will say this. If he didn't have time to plan, Superman would have destroyed him. And he actually did destroy him, but not bad enough.
Wow,
if they just happened to meet on the street without being any kind of planned head, Superman would destroy Batman. But if you give him 5 minutes, that's it. He's going to take you.
I don't know. I'd like to see a Batman Deadpool.
It'd be interesting.
Well, it's 2 different comics. Wouldn't that be kind of hard to do
Well,
that crossover?
The closest it would be Deathstroke is pretty close to Deadpool.
Yeah,
So-
but I mean, Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, come on.
Well, yeah, you got the comedic factor that would actually make it good. Yeah.
And I mean, who could you put? What Batman would you put up against a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool?
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
or I got even better. To add to the joke line, you could put him up against George Clooney with his nipple suit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Batman and Robin with the bat suit with nipples. Like, why would you make impressions of nipples on the bat suit?
Drive the girls crazy. I mean,
you know what it was? I think I just realized what it was, and then we're going to get off this tangent. In that movie, he battled Mr. Freeze, good old Arnold Schwarzenegger.
There you have it. He was cold.
He was cold.
It wasn't nipple impressions. Those bad dudes were coming through.
Yeah, that was the real deal.
Yeah.
Those suckers were hard enough to cut Diamond and the bat suit.
Oh my God. All right. Well, speaking of failed missions, not only for the Bat Bombs, but even some of Batman's missions were failed. Here is my next one. And I will tell you, this is literally my favorite research. It is my favorite information, my favorite spy conspiracy theory. It is called Operations Acoustic Kitty.
Wow, right. I have no idea where this is going.
Mine's going everywhere over here.
Yes.
Are you ready? Now,
absolutely.
Both of you I know have watched Austin Powers. So when I say Operations Acoustic Kitty, I know exactly where both your minds went.
Oh, yes.
But it's not like that. So this was a secret plan to turn cats into portable spying devices. A sort of feline android hybrid cyborg cat.
Well, that sounds dangerous.
So, robo-kitties?
Yeah. I do not think cats should be at all given technology.
Yeah, they're too smart. They take over the world.
Think that they would take over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're conniving.
So, a surgeon implanted a microphone into a kitty's ear and a radio transmitter into the base of the skull.
Thank God it was the ear.
Wired an antenna woven into the cat's fur. And they hoped that as they trained the cat, they could get it to sit near foreign officials and like catch private conversations. And then the kitty would be able to like be deployed to like the Kremlin or like whatever and pick up Soviet intelligence information without notice. So it's like, oh, broski, I brought you a kitty cat. And they're like, oh, good kitty. And the kitty's like, give me your secrets.
So, yeah, I feel like it'd be kind of obvious. It sounds like there's wires. It's like a microphone jammed in the cat's ear and then wires wrapped around the cat's body and maybe a battery up the cat's butt. That's what I'm picturing for some reason.
I think
it was a little more delicate to that, but yeah, I'm almost picturing your thing, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, because you gotta have a power source.
That might have been the first design, Chris. That may have been the first design. But
I mean, I guess to sum it up, it seems like it'd be obvious that this is not a normal cat. That's what I'm getting to.
I mean, wouldn't you also be like real questioning of like, where did this cat come from?
Okay, I'm glad you hit on that, Amanda, because that was my thing. I was like, how many freaking cats are wandering through the Kremlin or, walking up into the bunker, Hitler's bunker and, oh, meow, hi, Hitler, I'm just a friendly neighborhood cat, just kind of dropped in. You got any cat food?
Or catnip.
Yeah, I think Hitler was more of a shepherd guy than he was cats. But, I mean, how many cats walk into the White House? I mean, this is kind of disturbing.
There's a cat there now. They just got a cat.
I hope they checked his butt for batteries.
Right. Okay, so for its official test, the CIA drove the little kitty to a park and tasked it with capturing the conversation of two people sitting on a bench.
Is that legal?
No, but it doesn't matter. It's a spy.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
It definitely wasn't legal during this because this is before the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
Like now I think it's legal, but not then.
Well, you still got to have some reasoning. But it's pretty easy to create that reasoning.
And I'd be the the worst person because I'd be like, "Hi, kitty. Oh, who's a pretty kitty? Oh, why does kitty have microphone?"
The cat's a recording artist.
Yeah, it's got good beats.
Yes, beatboxing kitty.
Okay, so the cat, however, decided that was not what it wanted to do, and it wandered into the street and was promptly smashed to bits by a taxi.
Oh no!
Cat did not like having the microphone in his ear and the wires wrapped around his body and the battery up his butt, so he decided to commit suicide. Likely story.
Oh my God! Do we count
Can't
that?
say I blame him.
Do we count that in like veteran suicides? That's horrible.
I hope his cat family was paid.
Better have been.
So after the incident, CIA only produced one acoustic kitty and then abandoned the project after this terrible pussycat accident, stating the problem was that cats are not especially trainable, but the program itself does not lend against practical sense, and we really could do it if we more highly specialized animals.
So they tried again after the one cat committed suicide?
So they didn't try again on kitties, but they did try again on other animals.
How do they retire these animals? I'm curious. Do they, like the bats and the cat, I mean, do they get like free homes or, I mean, are they taking, what is the retirement plan for these animals?
Yeah. I hope they're taking in strays at least. Well, I don't know.
I think about like dogs. Yeah. Like dogs that are used in the military or in the police force live with their owner. Yeah. And then when they retire to their owner.
Most of the time, yeah.
Well, I know law enforcement does.
Like
I don't know if
family.
military does.
Yeah, I think it's similar. And I think with the bats, the thought was they probably weren't going to be retired. They were going to see the other side of the bridge.
They were going to be retired just in the long term form of retirement.
And I think this kitty, we didn't know what was going to happen to Senorita Kitty Kitty. Kitty Kitty had other plans and knew what was going to happen. But in 2006, the Pentagon's Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, or DARPA, did decide to take the kitty research to a whole new level and asked scientists to create cyborg insects.
Huh.
Cyborg insects? So
we dropped the kitty with the battery up its ass and went to a beetle.
It was a beetle. Yeah.
So explain this to me. What makes them cyborg?
So
they have a rocket arm?
Well, yeah. I couldn't really find a ton of research on the robobugs, but they did. It seems like it's a little too new of information, but apparently researchers were able to successfully create a cyborg beetle whose movements could be remotely controlled. I'm imagining they probably put a tiny little like receptor in their little beetle brain or like their nervous system of the bug, like because although they're a bug, they have an animal like nervous system, and they can control it that way.
Yeah, sense shocks. That's plausible. That's plausible. I could see that.
But now every time I see a bug, I'm going to be like, "Are you a real bug or are you a government bug?"
That's why I kill bugs.
Yeah. Did you know ladybugs bite?
Do they really?
Yeah, I found this out this weekend. I got a wicked ladybug bite.
It's probably not from a ladybug. I've never been bitten.
I watched it happen. I was holding it, and it happened. I literally watched it happen.
I guess you didn't get your wish.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was making a wish, and the bastard bit me.
So yeah, wrong ladybug bit.
Said not today, sucker.
I'm not your fairy ladybug. Get out of here.
My wishes are done.
All right. So if you spot a little beetle and it's acting weird, it might be a cyborg.
Yeah, it's spinning around in circles, then it might be a spy bug.
The shocking system has gone bad.
Haywire.
So besides pigeons, who probably were our best spies that we know of, we do have some dogs that have been used. Dogs are pretty trainable. They're pretty easy to guide. U.S. Special Operations has been known to deploy dogs in various functions, from like detecting explosives to active combat. Some even parachute out of planes and rappel down buildings.
Yes, I've seen that. Like, it's pretty wild.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And in 2013, a Belgian Malinois, which is a type of dog, was actually taken hostage in Afghanistan and accused of being a spy for the U.S. government.
Wow.
So
Really?
So dogs,
They're beautiful
out of
dogs.
all of
Very
these,
temperamental, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So dogs, out of all of this, seem to be our best sort of spy or animal assistant in the world of warfare. These are just a kind of small list that I thought were interesting of different animals, but know that many countries have actually accused other animals such as ravens, sea lions, eagles, falcons, many more to do their dirty spy work. So I have some animal numbers, and then we're going to play a game. But Chris, did you have any other animals you wanted to add to our animal spy list?
So there's a story about a specific carrier pigeon who should have, in my opinion, gotten a medal during World War One. So there's a story about a carrier pigeon named Cher Amy. It's SHER and then space then AMI. So during this World War One, a group of American soldiers were pinned down between a German onslaught and friendly fire during the last major battle of World War One. A carrier pigeon named Cher Ami was dispatched to tell the Allied troops to cease fire. The bird flew 25 miles, was shot in the chest, blinded in one eye, and lost a leg, but delivered the message and stopped the shelling.
That's like a Purple Heart pigeon.
Yes.
That is like a Forrest Gump pigeon.
Yep. Yeah. And then also elephants were used as tanks in ancient warfare, apparently, which is very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, Japanese
That's so
military.
Cool. But that makes me sad because elephants are like so sweet. And do you know that elephants look at humans like humans look at dogs? Mm-hmm. Like they think that we're like so cute and cuddly and like want to give us treats and want to like play games with us. That's how I look at my dog, at least. So I assume it's the same.
The last two are the I think the obvious ones in my opinion: camels and horses that were used in war. It's pretty interesting. That's not so much the spy stuff, but it's just interesting. I thought we should touch on that a little bit. That they were used and many had perished.
The saddest movie I've ever seen, and I like sad movies, is War Horse. Have either of you seen that?
Oh yes,
yeah, it was a good one.
Whew. When I was backpacking through Europe, we took this bus all around, and it was like a 3-week, 4-week, maybe a month. I don't remember how long I was there. And every time we go into a new country while we were driving, they put on this like movie for us to watch. And I remember we were going from France into Belgium, and we watched War Horse, and I was like, "What is this?" And like, I love animals, and horses are great, but hell, that was hard.
Yeah. It's an interesting story.
Poor little guy.
Yep.
If you haven't watched it, I recommend it. It's good. All right. So we are going to I'm going to give you some numbers. So animal spies by the digits. So it is estimated that 85 is the number of dolphins under the command of the Navy Marine Mammal Program at Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command. SPAWAR is how they say it. Now, first of all, where do they keep these 85 dolphins?
In the ocean.
Ma'am, that's top secret.
The top secret ocean. They keep them in their underwater bunkers is where they keep them. Everybody knows that.
Of course. I mean, that's the bunker that they developed for the sharks that didn't work out.
Yeah. That's the government's hidden deep underwater military base.
So SPAWAR also has 50 sea lions, which I guess hang out with the dolphins.
You know, I'd almost like to join the military to work there.
Yeah, it sounds like SeaWorld Army.
Right. Yeah, SeaWorld Army base.
Yeah. Or I think it's more
feeds a fish.
I think it's more in line with Navy, but yeah, there you go.
But I also really enjoy, can you imagine being the sign maker for the Navy Marine Mammal Program at Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command?
I hope they didn't charge them by the letter.
Well, hell, you
Huh.
can't even say it, Amanda. So much less type.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not doing that.
And like putting it on a t-shirt, like that's gonna be 7 lines down that polo.
Well, I'm sure
Where do
they
you
have
put your,
a fantastic acronym like military loves to use.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
SPAWAR.
Oh, you did say that.
SPAWAR.
Yeah, but you got to put
SPAWAR.
you got to put the dolphins. Dolphin and sea lion trainer guy at Spa War. So you got like DS supervisor or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're like, hello, my name is Harold Johnson,
Yeah.
and I am the dolphin examiner under the General of the Navy Marine Mammal Program at Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command.
Is that
Can you spell that?
Yeah. Is that like one of those places that the government puts a general that's not really doing what they want them to do? All right, you're overseeing the dolphin and sea lion board now.
Yeah.
Oh man. So we were talking a little bit earlier about our favorite bat. I want you to guess, how much do you think the US military spent on researching bat bombs?
Oh, I bet every bit of $2-3 million. Well, what year? Did we?
It was
our lifetime.
Well, it was 1943. So, what 1943 money?
I'd say close to $1 million, if not over $1 million.
Yeah, I'd stick around $1 million. Of course, you got to pay for the base that they destroyed.
Yeah.
So,
well, good point. I don't know if this includes the base that was destroyed, but they spent about $2 million.
Nice.
Which I didn't do the research of like what $2 million is in now time. Let's see, $2 million, 1943. That is an equivalent of $30,231,445.09.
that sounds about government spending right there.
Yep.
Where the toilet seat costs about $200,000.
Speaking of money spent, if we thought $2 million on bat bombs was a lot, how much do you think the 1960s CIA acoustic little kitty cat cost?
I'm going to shoot low on this one. I'm going to say 300,000.
That's way low.
Price is Right rules.
Well, you're the only one knowing. I've read her notes already, so I cheated.
Oh, what do you think? Oh, you cheated. So what is it, Amanda?
It is $20 million.
What?
They had to find a battery small enough to go up that cat's ass.
$20 million for a cat to put themselves in front of a taxi to die.
Could you imagine the colonel that has to go up and go, our $20 million cat just ran out in front of a yellow cab in New York?
Wow. I was going to say, I would hate to have to explain that waste of money.
So the inflation of what that would look like today is about 235 million.
Jesus.
$474,662.16.
My God.
Oh, that makes sense.
That is one expensive kitty cat vet bill that I do not think nationwide my pet insurance would pay for.
They cover cat suicide?
I don't think they cover atomic kitties.
A $20 million bill for
acoustic kitties.
How do you write off $20 million when you're calling your pet insurance company? I had a battery and a listening device shoved up its ass.
Yeah, I mean, he had like basically plastic surgery, and I think a lot of insurance companies won't cover like plastic surgeries.
All right, a couple more interesting things. So 600 dogs have been known to have served the U.S. military in Afghanistan and Iraq in 2011. So it might be more now, but we're not in either of those places anymore. But and one of the puppers was on the SEAL Team 6, which is the team that killed Osama bin Laden.
There's also I saw your notes again, like I told you, I read it. There's a book based on the killing of Osama bin Laden, done by one of the SEALs, done by the SEAL that actually pulled the trigger on Osama bin Laden. And I'm trying to find the book. I read the book, Chris. I don't know if you've read this book yet. Wholly, highly recommend, because it goes over his whole SEAL team training, and then goes through a couple missions that he was involved in, and actually kind of spells out as much of the Osama bin Laden mission that he could. Wow, phenomenal book, and I'm trying to find.
Yeah, I haven't. I've heard of it. I have not had the chance to read it.
So while Dave is looking for that, I feel like I just have to let you both know that my cat is staring at me. I think it's been listening to what we're saying.
You got one of the Russian cats.
Apparently,
Lift his tail up.
Kitty is named Summer.
Lift his tail up and check for a battery.
All right, Dave, while you're looking for that, let us know when you find it. We're going to talk about 2 more notes, and then we're going to play a little game called Trained or Framed. So 26 miles per hour, which is 42 kilometers for our friends across the pond who use the metric system. That is how fast a bottlenose dolphin can swim.
Oh.
Yeah.
Way faster than me.
All right, yep. And then this one really leads into our game. So about 2.5 miles or 4 kilometers from the Pakistan border, a suspected spy pigeon was arrested by Indian authorities. So I'm unsure how you arrest a spy pigeon. And we're
really
talk
tiny
a bit
handcuffs.
more soon about it, but
I'd love to be in the interrogation room for that.
How do you play bad cop, good cop, bad cop with this? Or
yeah, that's the only way to go.
Do you deny it breadcrumbs? You're like, you're not going to get this bread, little pigeon.
Yeah.
You want my French fry? Oh, that's a seagull. Yeah. Chris, remember when the seagull stole our hot dog one time at the beach?
Yes. I was very upset.
Bastard. Still think about him.
Hey, Amanda, real quick. I did find that book. It's written by Robert O'Neill. Like I said, he was one of the SEAL team members that went into bin Laden's house that night. It's called The Operator. Phenomenal read. He's a motivational speaker. From what I've gathered, I've watched a couple of YouTube videos of him going into businesses and speaking about teamwork and stuff like that.
Nice.
Shameless plug for Rob O'Neill in that book, but phenomenal read if you haven't done that yet.
Nice, definitely gonna check that out.
Awesome. Yeah, Dave, if you want, maybe we'll put that information on our Instagram too for folks that want to. Maybe we're driving, weren't able to write that down. We can maybe plug that a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely got a thumbs up from the social media manager, Savannah.
So appreciate her.
She's gonna
All
take care of
right.
that.
Okay, are we ready to play a game? Okay, I'm going to tell you a story about an animal, and then you are going to tell me if you think this animal is a trained spy or a framed little baby animal.
Okay.
And we're going to basically decide as a group what we think. The cat just came closer.
Yeah.
I do not know the answers to this, but we'll see. All right. These are all pretty relevantly newer incidences. So, in July 2007, Iranian news agencies reported the capture of 14 squirrels, apparently equipped with espionage systems along the border. These squirrely spies were found near a nuclear enrichment plant. Iranian officials said they succeeded in apprehending the suspects before they were able to take action.
I would have loved to been on see that recovery team work.
They had some moves. I mean, if they took down 14 squirrels before they were able to do their due diligence, whatever that may have been, they had some moves. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna go with framed.
I'll take the other side of the spectrum. I'll go trained.
Because the reason I say framed is because it was so many of them, and I feel like that would have been obvious to have 14 squirrels working in unison.
Well, I mean, you have to have a number. Our SEAL teams go in with how many? They go in 10, 14 deep. And there's redundancies. If Jim gets shot in front of me, well, I can do Jim's job. So,
That's true.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
What type of espionage systems do we think they were equipped with?
I think they had a bomb up their ass.
I'm going to go with listening devices.
I think they had tiny little guns like our Instagram picture.
I like it. All
right. Well, I'm on the side with Chris. I think that these poor little squirrelies were probably just going for the nut, like every little squirrely.
Whoa.
And
wow.
Hey, this is explicit. I can say what I want.
Very true.
And we're framed. All right. Ready for our next one, friends?
Yes.
You don't have an answer on these?
No, they're animals. Dave, how can you perfect
I'm sitting here getting excited, like trying to figure out, okay, well, she's fixing to come across and say these 14 actually, told the Iranians that, hell yeah, we're about to blow your shit up.
I mean, more, it was like,
I mean,
Okay, so about a short story about a squirrel. So I was at the park the other day with the dog, and I was hanging out with my friends. And the dog's doing her thing or whatever, playing in the park. And this squirrel got so close to me, I thought it was going to attack me. And I was like, what the fuck, squirrel? Back off.
Trained or framed.
Was he being sneaky or did he just kind of hop up there?
He was being sneaky. And I didn't have
he's trained.
I don't know what he wants. He's trained.
I'd definitely go trained.
Yeah. Espionage systems equipped with them.
He knew our podcast.
That might be where this all started.
Right?
All right. In 2010, at the Sharm el Sheikh spelled that wrong, resort in Egypt, there were a series of shark attacks. Now, there are many theories about why these sharks attacked. Some said it could have been because of the abnormal high temperatures in the Red Sea. There was extensive dumping of sheep carcasses because of Eid, which is a holiday they celebrate in Egypt and across the Middle East, that may have brought the sharks closer to the sea line. Or was it Israeli involvement? Egyptian television broadcaster claims from the South Sinai governor Mohammed Abdul Fadil Shusha that Israeli divers captured the sharks, put a GPS unit on them, and sent them to attack.
Well, how do they know who to attack? I want to go with framed again because I feel like how would they know who to attack? How could you narrow that in to attack the correct people? Or is it just I just want to take out some of this country's citizens. I don't care who they're attacking.
Well, actually, and I didn't put this in my notes, but those who were attacked were mostly Russian and
whoops,
some folks like from the UK. So it wasn't. I don't think there were really any Egyptians that were attacked.
Yeah, I'm gonna go framed.
It was a resort, so.
I'm going to go framed also, just because, and thank you for putting this in there. The extensive dumping of sheep carcasses probably has something to do with that. I mean, being a Florida boy and on the water, Chris, you know this just as well. You put a little blood in the water and you got the bigger fish coming.
Yep.
Yeah. Apparently, our good friend Mohammed Abdul Fadil Shusha did come back and say, maybe it was the sheep carcasses, but his first claim was not those folks.
There we go.
And I would like to say, I apologize that all of my, I just realized this, but all of my trained or framed are Middle Eastern countries. Apparently, they really just enjoy training or framing these spies. It was not done intentional. They just had the best stories. So.
All right. Yes.
In 2013, Hezbollah, an affiliated TV station, reported that an eagle had been detained north of Beirut and was suspected of being an Israeli spy. Eagle was allegedly carrying an implanted receiver and a brass ring around its foot with markings in English that connected it back to Tel Aviv University. There is apparently an image of the alleged spy with the receiver located on its body.
I think we have another double agent. I think, hence he's an eagle. He was originally an American spy who started to work for the Israelis. And he had English writing on him. so it kind of plays into that as well.
Well,
So
aren't we?
I think trained.
Aren't we allies with the Israelis?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
huh?
yeah, trained for sure. I'm going
Yeah,
trained.
I'd have to go with. I'm going to go with you, Chris, on that one. You know, the evidence is there to uphold that.
With the equipment that was on him,
Right.
I think trained.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know if trained, but definitely gathering some type of research for the university. Now we know that universities do research, like putting information into beetles. So why not tie something to an eagle?
Right.
Okay. In 2018, Iran accused the U.S. of spying on its nuclear program with lizards.
With lizards?
With lizards. So, a senior advisor for Iran said they intercepted outsiders who were visiting the country under the guise of collecting aid for Palestine. In their possession were a variety of desert reptiles with skins that attracted atomic waves. They were nuclear spies. This is the quote, sorry. They were nuclear spies who wanted to find out where we have uranium mines and where we are engaged in atomic activities. So, yeah.
I would say framed. I don't really have a reason. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you know, do we know if lizard skin attracts atomic waves?
Not we specifically, but maybe somebody might.
Yeah. So James Andrews, who is a scientist for the Vermont Amphibian Atlas, which I guess is a place that knows about animals, does claim that this is not a thing, that lizards attract atomic waves is nothing he's ever heard of, and it sounds bogus to him. Now, James could also be working with the lizards.
Yeah, he could be the lizard king.
King of the lizard people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go train. I mean, honestly, because I mean, there's so much out there that we're just figuring out as far as what can absorb radio waves or atomic waves or stuff like that. How do we not know that lizards don't attract atomic waves or something?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, what if the people were actually the ones working for the lizards?
Ooh.
Like the lizards are in control. That's my
crap.
next hope. Yep.
Wow.
So if you have a lizard at home that you feel attracts atomic waves, please don't take that to Iran, but let us know. We'd appreciate it.
There's a lot of lizards that fell out of trees in Miami recently.
I love when they are like, the lizards are going to fall. It's my favorite story.
As recently as yesterday, when we got down to 27 here, supposed to get down to 26 tonight.
Ooh. It's been 19, 13
right now,
here. No, we had a little bit of snow, but it's been like 17, 13 degrees, like bouncing back and forth each night. So it's been a little chilly.
All right, friends. To end this game, we're going to do our last one. So in 2021, there is a claim by Hamas to have captured an Israeli-trained dolphin armed with a weapon of some kind that killed a Hamas member. It is not clear what the perpetrated incident of question was or when it occurred, but apparently there is a video clip regarding it circling around social media. The clip is reported to show an individual holding what is alleged to be a nose harness taken from an Israeli captured dolphin, and the dolphin apparently killed someone during the Israeli-Hamas conflict in May. However, the animal has not been seen, just the harness or the harness from the animal.
So they put a laser beam on the freaking dolphin.
They couldn't get the freaking shark. I don't know how hard it was to get the freaking shark.
Wow. I would love to know what the weapon is.
Apparently you could find it online, but I tried and I got a little bit too deep. And this is, I didn't want people to come to our house and my husband be like, why are there people outside our house?
Fair enough.
Well, the Hamas frogmen might be at your house.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, like, so I was thinking about this with dolphins. We've all, the three of us have like swam with dolphins, like in the wild. We've swam with dolphins, not like, I know I've jumped into like Tampa Bay before, and there are dolphins that like will be right next to you. You know, they're really sweet creatures. They're also little horny creatures, and you got to watch what you're doing.
Yep. They will get frisky real quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Oh yeah.
You got to be real careful. So I feel like a killer dolphin, I mean, they gotta have a good reason. So.
Yeah. I mean, they don't just snap like that. But the harness is what throws me off, and them calling it a weapon. That's why I'm going train for sure.
Well, it said the dolphin actually killed a person with this weapon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an eagle-eyed dolphin right there.
Mm-hmm.
But how did that person had to have been outside, right? Like, or on the water, because that dolphin can't come onto they don't have legs.
Right. Or do they?
Well, I mean, you got walking catfish that use their fins.
Yeah.
Huh.
Very, very interesting.
I'm gonna go trained on this one also because I think we've all seen dolphins do a lot of things. Putting a Glock on its nose and training it to pull the trigger could probably be one of those.
Yeah.
One of those things, you know. So I'll go trained on that one.
I like it. I also think that that's a clever way to use a dolphin.
No doubt.
All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed our little chat about animal used as assistants or spies within the world. I wanted to end this part of the episode with a quote from Shira Fedar. And they said, anyone can be part of a nefarious plot, even your friendly neighborhood dolphin, lizard, or rat. Just watch out.
Or beetle, for that matter.
Yeah.
Or a sweet little kitty cat with a microphone in its ear, a wire wrapped around it, and a battery up its ass.
Looking to commit suicide in front of a yellow cab.
Yeah, poor yellow cab driver. Could you imagine the trauma he had to go through?
Yeah, he had a $2 million cat.
$20 million, not two. $20 million
20.
cat.
Government definitely showed up at his house.
Yep. You owe us a $20 million cat.
For sure.
He probably thought to himself, like, oh crap, I killed another cat in DC. Like, oh, this is so crazy. And then he sees these G-men running towards him and he's like, it's just a cat. It's just a cat.
Yeah, all these black tinted out Cadillacs coming running, pulling up.
Right.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, man.
I bet he got a nice little payout to never speak of that again.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I want to thank everyone for tuning into this episode. Please rate, review, and follow us on Instagram. You can rate and review us on your podcast listener of choice, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. Thank you again, and we will catch you on the next one.
See you later.
Bye, folks. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. Please join us for episode 3 when we run deep into alien encounters. We will discuss the 1961 Betty and Barney Hill case, as well as the 1994 aerial school in Zimbabwe, where some headmasters and 60 students observed a UFO during recess, along with some other alien encounter cases. Thanks again for listening to the Waters Run Deep podcast. Please remember to rate and review on your podcast platform of choice, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at TWRD_podcast. Send us a shout out or a topic for review for an upcoming episode.